Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the StockCharts TV studio here in a bright and sunny, beautiful Redmond, Washington. My name is Grayson Roze. I am the Chief Strategist here at StockCharts.com. As always, it is a thrill and a joy to be back with you, especially today talking about process, talking about some of those tools and features from around the StockCharts platform that really take your experience to the next level. Now, the show that we're going to do today, the topic that we're going to cover today, is really kind of based on a moment that we had a couple of weeks ago. I sat down in the studio with my good friend Dave Keller, and as we were going through our monthly Charts to Watch video, we paused about halfway through that show. You might have seen it. And we touched on something called StyleButtons. Now, these are these little sort of template tabs that sit over on the side of your charts on the SharpCharts workbench, and they give you quick access to some of your chart templates that are your go-tos. Anything that you are consistently using, any of those chart templates that you find yourself pulling up on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, the ones that you go to most frequently, you can save those as these little template tabs on the side of your charts. Makes it incredibly easy to access the chart templates, or the chart styles as we call them, that are most important to you. Dave and I took a little bit of time out of that show that we did a couple of weeks ago, and we touched on the importance of these buttons, talked a little bit about how we use them. So today, we're going to cover that exact same topic. We're going to touch on these style buttons, make sure that you're familiar with what a chart style is and how to save those to your StockCharts account, but also what a style button is, how to set those up. We're also going to talk through how I specifically use these. Now, this really is one of the most sort of the biggest efficiency boosts, I would say, on the SharpCharts workbench. This is one of those things that I love to show people when I'm talking about ways to get more value out of StockCharts. I show them how to set up these style buttons over on the side, and it really is a huge efficiency booster. I see a lot of people that are fumbling down with the chart settings area. Maybe they're picking different chart styles that they've saved, but they're using the menu below the charts. And whenever I show them these style buttons, they always go, oh my gosh, this is going to save me tons and tons and tons of time. So I think we're going to have some fun today showing you some of those crucial resources, but also speeding up your charting. That's what we're doing with style buttons here today. So let's jump over to StockCharts and get it going. All right, everybody, so we are here on the SharpCharts workbench. We're taking a look at Broadcom AVGO. This stock has been absolutely on fire today. We're actually going to use this as a great example of why these style buttons can be so important for you. We're going to use this to show you how you can move between time frames and different chart templates very, very easily. Now, first and foremost, I want to just point out what we are talking about. So these colored buttons over here on the left side of the screen, these are the style buttons that I have set up for my account. Now, we're going to talk through exactly what I've set, why I've set it, why I've labeled things in the way that we have here. But just to give you a sense of kind of what we are going to touch on today, we're going to jump away from these style buttons momentarily, but this is going to be our topic today. Now, to give you a quick sense of how this works, once you set this up, you can move between chart templates incredibly easy. So as you can see, I'm moving between all of these different chart templates that are sort of my go-tos, the different combinations of settings and timeframes and periods and all of that that I like to use. You can move between those incredibly easy without having to go fumbling through any settings and menus and buttons and clicking things and scrolling all around the screen. Take those chart templates that are most important to you and to your process on StockCharts, and you'll be able to set those up here on the left side of the screen. So before we really dive into how to set those up, I want to talk about what a chart style is. Now, when you create one of these style buttons, when you assign something to one of these style buttons, what you're doing is actually assigning a chart style to one of those tabs. Now, a chart style, if we back up a little bit further, a chart style is a collection of settings. Anything that you have set down here on the SharpCharts workbench, that's the chart type, the period, the range of that chart, any of the display settings like what size it is, what color scheme it is, what color you want the up candles, what color you want the down candles, all of those different settings. But also, most crucially, all of the overlays that you have, any moving averages, things like Bollinger Bands, any of that good stuff. Also, any indicators that you have. Maybe you got a relative strength line, maybe you got RSI or the MACD. Any of those features that you've set on your charts, you can package those up and save them as what we call a chart style. Now, of course, We like to come up with our own little bit of a language here at StockCharts, but one way to think about these is really a chart template. It's a collection of settings that you can return to anytime in the future. Basically, it's going to take everything that you've set here on the workbench except the symbol, and it's going to package that up and make it sort of reusable. So if you have a specific collection of settings and a time frame and a chart type that you like, make sure that you are saving those different collections as chart styles. To do that, you're going to come down here, you're going to customize these charts with exactly what you want. Again, all of those settings, the overlays, the indicators, everything that's going to go into your charts. And then you're going to look for this green button here right below that chart. That is the Save Chart Style button. Now from here, you can save it as a new chart style, give it a name, or you can update an existing chart style. This is how you also can sort of manage the different chart styles that are in your account. Now, if it's the most important chart to you, if it's the one that you want to consistently come back to every time you launch the SharpCharts workbench, you can also set that as your default chart. That means that anytime, anywhere around the StockCharts platform, you click on a link or you save a chart to your account, it's typically going to save with that default chart style. It's also, of course, going to be the chart style that's in use when you first come to the SharpCharts workbench. So again, one other little sort of factor on there, if it's a very, very important chart style to you, you can set that as your default. Now, once you've saved 1, 2, 10, 20 of those different chart styles to your account, you're going to be able to see them in this little menu just to the left of that Save Chart Style button. So here in this menu, you can see all of the different chart styles that I have saved to my own account. We're doing this right out of my own personal StockCharts account, the one that I use every single day and every single week. And so you can see how many chart styles I've saved to my account. To briefly touch on sort of the methodology, different things that I use these for, I've got different sort of chart setups with specific indicators or specific time frames, different sort of custom things that I like to see here that I might want to use from time to time. I've also got different chart styles that are specific to security types. I've got ETF styles, I've got equity styles, I've got index styles that are specific to those different symbol types that I might be looking at. I've got different time frames in here. I've got different collections of indicators. I've got daily chart styles, weekly chart styles, monthly chart styles. Any set of indicators and settings that I'm going to want to return to in the future, I just go ahead and save that as a chart style. It makes it incredibly easy to come back to that collection of settings without having to come fumble through any menus or anything like that. Now, it's very easy to edit your chart styles from this menu. Of course, you can hit the little pencil icon to change the name. You can also delete any of your chart styles right from here. And if you want to move your default chart style from one to another, you can look for that little star icon, give that a click, and that'll set that as your default chart style. The other thing that you can do with your chart styles, though, is, of course, the topic of today's show. You can set these up as style buttons. So in this big, giant menu, of course, you can see how many chart styles I've saved to my own personal account. If I had to come and sort through this menu and go find every style every single time that I want to pull up a different chart, it would be a little bit cumbersome. The reality is, though, that's what I see most people doing on StockCharts. When they're kind of new to the platform, new to something like SharpCharts, I see a lot of people who are saving these chart styles, which is absolutely fantastic. Good job for you. But you can take it a step further. Instead of having to go and sort through this menu and go find the chart style that you're looking for, chances are you're going to start to develop your favorites, your go-tos, the ones that you find yourself coming back to consistently day in and day out, week in and week out. So that's where these style buttons come into play. That's where they become absolutely crucial. So think about these chart styles that you're creating in your account. Remember, step one is absolutely to save those collections of settings as a chart template or a chart style that you can come back to. But once you start to find those ones that are sort of your go-tos, you're going to come back to consistently, you're going to want to save those as style buttons. So if we scroll up a little bit to the screen, once again, these are the style buttons that we're going to be talking about today. Now, I have set up 11 of these in my own account. I've actually deleted one for the episode today, so we're going to add that back. I'm going to show you how easy it is. But you'll notice that I've got my specific colors and my specific labels, and we're going to touch on exactly what those mean and why I've set those up the way that I have. Before we do that, I want to show you how easy it is to add these style buttons. Just like we saw down below where you set up your charts, you hit that Save Chart Style button, and in just a couple of clicks, you're saving that template to your own account. Style buttons are about as easy. You're going to look for this little plus icon down here at the very, very bottom. Give that a click whenever you have a new chart template or a new chart style that you want to save to one of these buttons. Now from here, you're basically just going to fill out the form that's in front of you. You can select which position you want that style button in, up to 12. You can save up to 12 of these style buttons to your account. So select which position it's going to be in. By default, when you first open this window, it's going to be the last style button in your account. You can always move those around. We'll show you how to do that. But select the position that you want. Then, most importantly, select the chart style that you want to save to that button. Now you'll notice in this menu, the chart styles that I've already set as style buttons are going to be grayed out. So it makes it really easy. You don't have to worry that you're going to pick the same style multiple times. Let's say that you want to add something like this. You're going to select what I call my level 2 7.5 year weekly style. So we're going to select that from the menu there. That's all you have to do. Really, really easy. And then if you want, you can give that a label. You get up to 2 characters you can type in here. And this can be helpful to come up with a little bit of a reference so that you know exactly which style button corresponds to which chart style from your account. We'll show you how I use that in just a sec. I'm going to go ahead and type W2. We'll come back to that. But that's going to tell me that it is a weekly style, a weekly level 2 style in my account. Now, you can also select a color for these style buttons. Some folks like having them all in the same color, so they just kind of fade out. Maybe you want all black or all gray. I like to actually organize my style buttons a little bit so that they're sort of color-coded in different ways. That helps me keep those style buttons organized. So in this case, since I've selected a weekly level 2 chart, I'm going to select that darker green color. And then you're going to hit save. And that style button is going to show up right there for you. Now, like we mentioned, it's going to show up at the bottom of the list. So if you do want to edit that, if you want to move them around, look for that little gear icon at the very top. And you'll see that this is actually going to show you all of your chart styles that you've saved to those different style buttons. From here, it's really, really easy to edit these different style buttons. You can click that little pencil icon, and I can actually come up here and change the position of this. So if I wanted to move this to, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I want to move this to the 7 spot there, so it's kind of right in the right place for me. I can change that number, and you'll see that that W2 dark green has now jumped right up there to position 7. So very, very easy. Once you use this little gears icon, you can access all of those. Hit that little pencil icon, and that's going to allow you to actually edit any of the style buttons that you have in your account. So super easy to set these up. Now, of course, what you end up with is, like we showed before, you end up with quick access to the styles that are most important for you. So I've set these up with a whole bunch of daily styles up at the top, and then a whole bunch of weekly styles. I've got a couple styles for ETFs, an ETF daily and an ETF weekly, and then I have some very short-term styles down at the bottom. We'll talk through exactly why. But as you can see, once again, it's incredibly easy to move between these different chart templates. So these are the sort of collections of settings that are most important to me, the ones that I find myself using over and over and over every single day. They are the most important chart styles from my account. So having really, really quick access to those and knowing exactly where they are using these colors and these different labels, it's a huge, huge time saver for me. Big, big efficiency boost here on the SharpCharts workbench. So with that kind of out of the way, we've talked about kind of structurally what a chart style is, how to save one of those chart styles to your account. We've talked about where to find those chart styles in the big list down at the bottom. We've also talked about how to save some different style buttons to your account. You've seen that. Hit that little plus icon. You can start adding these style buttons to your account. What I'm going to do from here is talk to you about exactly why I've set up my style buttons in the way that I have. Now, we kind of teased this a little bit here when I opened up that, clicked that gears icon and opened up that menu. As you can see, when you do that, you're going to get the full names. So in this case, what you can see is all of the chart styles that I've saved to these style buttons, and you can see the full names. Now, I'm a little bit of an organization freak. That's sort of one of the things that I pride myself on is staying organized, especially with something like this. And so you can see that I use a very consistent naming convention for my chart styles to make sure that I know exactly what that chart style is and why some of the features that it has and why it's there, different things like that. So as you can see, I've organized my chart styles by a couple of different groups. I've got different chart styles in my account that are using daily charts, daily periods. And they're primarily focused on equities, individual stocks. They can be used for ETFs, but those are sort of the two assets that I'm primarily focused on. So I've got my equity style that is with a daily period. And then within there, I've got a couple of different levels. You can see starting at level 0 and going up to level 4. We'll talk about that in just a sec. Below that, though, I've got a very similar structure with weekly charts. In this case, I have the same chart, but with a couple of different time periods. So I have a 5-year weekly chart, a 7.5-year weekly chart, and then a 15-year weekly chart. Below that, I've got a couple of styles for ETFs. Now, these are very, very similar to the equity styles. All they do is really add in a dividend panel at the bottom, since there's kind of a higher percentage of ETFs that pay dividends. So I like to have that down at the bottom of my ETF style. But it's very, very similar. And a similar concept here, I've got a daily style that I like to use for ETFs, and I've got a weekly style with a longer time frame that I like to use for those ETFs. At the bottom, I have some very, very short-term charts. These are sort of tactical charts for me when I'm actually going there to place a trade. I want to see exactly what's happening on a very, very short-term time frame. These bring in things like the volume-weighted average price, the VWAP, different things like that. Allows me to see sort of support and resistance levels on a very, very compressed time frame. So I've got a couple of those very short-term time frames down at the bottom. Now, I've organized these in a couple of different ways. I've organized these by sort of asset type. I've organized these by time frame. But within there, I've also got this sort of leveling system, what I call a leveling system. So I see a lot of people who do this with technical analysis, especially when they're sort of new to technical analysis, and they start to learn the power of all these different indicators that we have. A lot of people take all of the indicators that they could ever want, and they pack it all onto one chart. And they say, well, I don't use all of these indicators at all times, but I want to have access to them. So now I have a chart that's got 15 different indicators on it, and I'm trying to stay focused on just one part, but I want to also have access to these other indicators, and I don't want to have to go fumbling through different menus and adding them whenever I need them. And so I'll just put it all on one chart, and I'll try to stay focused only on the bits and pieces that matter at one time. I'll be honest, I did that for years. I fell in love with all of these different indicators, and I would start to add them all on one chart, and my chart ended up getting longer and longer and longer. And finally, I realized, I'm not using a lot of these indicators that often. The majority of the time, I'm staying focused on price and I'm staying focused on relative strength. Those are the things that matter most to me. And when I want to bring in those different indicators, I still want to sort of, have access to them, but I don't need them all the time. A lot of times, when you build up those charts with tons and tons and tons of indicators, it ends up kind of cluttering your view. So what I ended up doing was building what I call a leveling system to my charts. That leveling system brings in more and more and more indicators as you go further up the levels. So starting with a level 0 chart, it's just got price and a couple of moving averages. There's almost nothing on that level 0 chart. If I want to stay focused on price and just draw some trend lines, just draw some support and resistance lines, that level 0 chart is a thing of beauty because it keeps me focused exclusively on the chart bars. I start to add in additional indicators as we go. So we're starting here with that level 0 chart, that level 0 daily chart. This is a 1.5-year chart here. We're starting with this level 0 chart. As you can see, just mostly focused on price. Does have a couple of moving averages here, but a very, very simple chart. We can jump up to my level 1 chart. This is kind of my go-to. This is where I spend most of my time. This is the level 0 chart, but it brings in volume down here at the bottom. And most importantly for me, it brings in relative strength as well. So this is showing me how Broadcom is performing relative to the total stock market, an index called the VTI. So again, similar chart, but I've layered in one additional indicator. I guess 2 if you count volume. I've layered in those additional indicators, and I still have access to that level 0 chart if I want, but if I want to start to layer in or level in additional indicators, I've got that level 1 chart. Next up, my level 2 chart, very, very similar. The only addition down here at the bottom is RSI. I do like to look at RSI, think about momentum from time to time, but again, I want to keep myself primarily focused just on price and relative strength, so that's going to be my starting place. And when I decide that I want to bring in a momentum picture with RSI, I can just jump over to that level 2 chart, keep myself focused just on the sort of clean view there with price, relative strength, and now momentum. Jumping up to my level 3 chart, this is going to add in a couple of indicators down at the bottom. Accumulation distribution and the on-balance volume shows me money flow in sort of one panel down at the bottom of this chart. And then also the scooter. This is our StockCharts technical rank, which you can actually chart over time. Gives you an idea of relative strength within a group. So how is Broadcom performing relative to other large caps? In this case, this is a large cap stock, so it's in the large cap scooter group. So I level that in or layer that in down at the bottom there. And finally, I've got what I call my level 4 chart. So this brings in some additional relative strength views, shows me how the sector is performing relative to the market and how the industry group is performing relative to the sector of that stock. And then down at the bottom, of course, we have RSI, accumulation distribution, on-balance volume, and the scooter line. So this leveling system, which I use to keep myself focused on the right parts of my charts at the right time, is something that I've actually saved to my style buttons. It makes it very, very easy to sort of level my way through these charts. And instead of having every indicator that I would ever want packed onto one chart style, I can sort of break those apart into separate chart styles and then save those as style buttons. So again, it's very, very easy to move through these levels. I can say, okay, well, how's price doing? Let's layer in the relative strength. Let's layer in some momentum. Let's layer in some money flow. I don't have to have all of that on the screen at one time. Now, the other use of style buttons for me is to move through different time frames. Multi-timeframe analysis, a crucial part of what I do. I don't want to just think about something in a vacuum of 1 year or 1.5 years. I want to be able to move through time and see how is this stock performed over 1 year? How is it performed over 5 years, 15 years? What's the long-term trend of this thing? How is it looking on the very, very short term? I mentioned that sort of very compressed time frame that I use for actually jumping into a trade. So how is it looking on a very, very compressed, a couple of days or even just a month? Different things like that. So I've used these style buttons to also set up different time frames that I can move through. So all of these different sort of light green buttons up at the top, these are all going to be daily charts. Again, layering in those additional indicators as we go. Then I've got my weekly styles. So like we showed here a little bit earlier, I've got a 5-year, a 7.5-year, and a 15-year weekly style that I can move through. So in the case of something like Broadcom, which is looking absolutely gorgeous on the daily, I'm saying, okay, well, this is looking great on the daily. Seems like it's setting up here, trying to break out, consolidating up near the highs, but a great looking chart, beautiful relative strength. Everything looks good on the daily chart. How does Broadcom look, though, on the weekly? Is this in a longer-term downtrend, but it's just looking great on the daily right now? Or is this in a long-term uptrend, and it's breaking out within that long-term uptrend? Well, because I've saved these style buttons here with different time frames, I've got my weekly styles in dark green, my equity styles there with the weekly. You can see these are now weekly charts, and they use different time frames. So in this case, I've got a 5-year weekly chart with relative strength up at the top, as well as RSI and volume. This is now allowing me to step back, zoom out really, really quickly, and see a 5-year longer-term weekly view for Broadcom. In this case, we can see this thing has been in a beautiful long-term uptrend. It really is breaking out on the daily within this longer-term uptrend on the weekly. That's a thing of beauty. I can step back even further to a 7.5-year view. And if I want to step back even further, I can step back to a very, very long-term 15-year view. Now, admittedly, this is one that I don't use that often, but sometimes when I see that something has been weak over 5 years, let's say, it's interesting to step back to a longer-term 15-year view and see exactly what has been going on for a very, very long period of time, especially for different ETFs and indexes and things like that. But point is, I've got access to those different time frames very, very easily. So all of my daily styles up here, I've got a couple of different time frames to step back to longer-term views. And then, of course, like I mentioned, I've got some very, very short-term sort of tactical chart styles saved. So in this case, we're looking at a 5-day minute-to-minute chart. Every bar on this chart represents 1 minute of trading. I've got the VWAP on here, the volume weighted average price, a couple of money flow indicators that we had before, and then relative strength up at the top as well. So when it comes to actually placing a trade, again, I've got quick access to these very, very short-term styles, my 5-day style, and I also have a little bit of a longer-term, short-term style, if that makes sense. I've got a 75-day short-term chart. Everything is 15-minute bars on this chart. So a couple of different time frames built in there, and I can quickly and easily access those using these style buttons. So you've got different time frames. You've got different levels with those sort of indicator packs that you can level in. And in this case, I also finally have a couple of different security types. So my ETF styles are very, very similar to my equity styles. As I mentioned, the only thing that I add in is the dividends indicator down at the bottom. I like to keep that on for my ETFs. But very, very similar concept. I've got a specific style for daily ETFs and a specific style, weekly style for ETFs as well, bringing in that dividends indicator. But the concept is the same. So really, really easy to flip through different time frames. So I'm bringing all this up because I want you guys to think about whatever makes sense for you. I'm showing you some of those tools straight out of my own account, talking about some of the process that I use in my own account. Your process is going to be different. You're going to have different priorities. You're going to have different go-tos. You're going to have different things that you want to package up and save as those chart styles and set as style buttons. But I want you to start thinking a little bit more creatively about these style buttons. They don't have to just be, well, I've got this style and this style and this style. You can start to come up with sort of a structure to those style buttons, organize them, label them, make sure that they're really working for you. In this case, to me, being able to move through time frames, incredibly important. Being able to move through these different sort of chart levels, incredibly important. I want you to think about what your setup is going to be. How are you going to maximize the value of these style buttons for your own system, for the system that you trade, the time frame that you like to follow, whatever it is, whatever your approach. I'm sure that you can come up with a powerful way to customize the style button concept to fit whatever you are needing. So style buttons are just an absolutely crucial part of maximizing the value of the SharpCharts workbench. You know, it was interesting when we sat down with Dave just a couple of weeks ago, something that Dave uses consistently as well. And we've touched on this a lot together in the past, talking about the value of those style buttons. Again, you know, when you're moving through these different time frames or when you're moving through these different sets of indicators, different things, you don't want to waste any time fumbling with menus, fumbling with buttons, getting lost in the platform and different things like that. You want to just set these style buttons up, know exactly where to go to click and get that chart template that matters to you. Style buttons are the way to do it. Really, really is an efficiency booster and a game changer when it comes to maximizing the value of that SharpCharts workbench, making it fly. So always fun to talk to folks like Dave and see how they're setting up their style buttons. You know, see what he's doing with the platform, our other contributors as well. So you guys should let us know down in the comments below. How are you using style buttons? What have you saved to your own StockCharts account? What's in your go-to chart templates that you're using consistently? So that's going to be our show for today. We've had some fun digging into some of those tools and features that really help you get more out of StockCharts and talking a little bit about how I'm using them in my own process and my own approach. I find that being able to move through time frames is a crucial feature of these chart styles and style buttons. So hopefully that's inspired you a little bit, but I'm sure that you're going to have your own things that you come up with, different ways that you want to use these different tools and features. Of course, everything that we're highlighting here, you got to be a StockCharts member to take advantage of this. So don't forget, visit StockCharts.com, hit that big green button on the homepage, sign up for your free 1-month trial. You can take advantage of all these different tools and features. We've got so much packed into the platform for you, and this is a perfect example. You know, being able to save those different settings and different collections of indicators right to your own account. You don't have to set things up every single time that you come to the StockCharts platform. Save it to your account. It's much faster, much easier, much more enjoyable. Saves you time, but also keeps you focused on the charts and not the menus and the buttons and all that good stuff. So remember, all these tools and features that we're talking about, you got to be a StockCharts member. Take that free 1-month trial. Don't miss out. Also, want to remind you, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've got so much happening here on StockCharts TV, always, every week, so many great contributors. So hit that subscribe button down below, give this video a like, and leave us a comment. Like I said, let us know what you're saving, what your collections of favorite indicators and settings and everything are. How are you using those chart styles and those style buttons? I want to thank you again for joining me on the show today. My name is Grayson Roze, Chief Strategist here at StockCharts.com. It's always great to be with you. We'll be back again soon for another episode, but until then, keep calm and chart on, my friends.